Welcome, everyone, to this JABO Xtra special edition. We will be going live Thursday night. Please come and join us. YouTube, Facebook, all the usual places. But I had to do this special edition because there's been some wild news these last 12 hours or so. As I record this, my 9 to 5 job is actually like a 6 to 3 job, so I'm up in the morning, been up for a while, been consuming a lot of news, and wanted to present that. Honestly, because I have a platform and because I feel a certain way. And while our audience is sports related, Baltimore related, everyone knows like I'm the wrestling guy, real on wrestling, always saying some stuff. And the last 8 months has been really interesting to say on the stuff I've reported, the real backstage stuff that happens. And man, as 2022 is winding down, everyone's like, wild year in pro wrestling, this happened, that happened. And who had any idea that 10, 11 days into 2023, it would absolutely eclipse? So, as you can see on the screen, the WWE logo prominent. A ton of news going on in WWE. Kind of a recap. Back in, I want to say April or May, Stephanie McMahon takes a leave of absence from the company. And 6 weeks later, June of 2022, Vince McMahon resigns amid allegations of sexual misconduct and, paying off women that all these rich people tend to find themselves in trouble with. So, Stephanie's husband, Paul Levesque, Triple H, he takes over creative. Stephanie is co-CEO with Nick Khan, who had been president. And the product turns around. Everyone seems happy. The storylines get better. Ratings get better. The stocks saw a jump. It's a huge global machine, billion-dollar industry. Of course, it doesn't go entirely smooth, but things are looking up. And one of the best things is that backstage locker room morale had been said to be one of the best it's ever been. So fast forward to 2023. Even back in December, there had been an article, I believe it was the Wall Street Journal, I'm not entirely sure on that, that said that Vince McMahon had claimed that he got bad advice to retire and might want to way back into WWE. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Everyone expected him to come back because that's just who he is, but a good 6 months or so had passed. Was it really going to happen? Kind of questions. And then last week, I think like the day after we did our show on Tuesday, news started going down that Vince McMahon was going to work his way back into WWE. He had notified the board of directors of WWE that he intended to get back on there. A whole lot of more stuff has come out since then that I'm going to reference. So stick with me. Vince McMahon notifies the board he wants back in. Apparently, the board sent him a letter back saying, we appreciate everything you've done, but no, they didn't want him back on the board. And Vince, he's the majority shareholder. While it's a publicly traded company, there's certain levels of stocks, A share, B share, and the kind of stock that Vince owns, while it might not be the majority of shares out there, it is also the one with the most voting power. So Vince has like 80% voting power. So no matter what happens, Vince has final say. And last week, a statement from Vince, statement from WWE, article, all kinds of stuff started dropping. Essentially, Vince made it clear his intention to get back on the board, and along with 2 former board members whose names escape me right now, but I know I'm going to remember in like 3 minutes and then just blurt it out. That 3 board spots would need to be vacated for them to join the board. And I'm not sure the whole dynamics around it, but those 3 positions opened up, those 3 board member spots, and Vince and his 2 cronies, we shall say, were named to the board of directors for WWE. This was Thursday, I want to say. So Vince is back in. And his reason for going in is saying, with the television rights fees coming up, they're set to negotiate their television deals this summer. And I think the new deals would take effect like a year later. And they're massive deals. Raw airing on USA, SmackDown airing on Fox. $1 billion deals. So, a lot of money to be had. So with the television right fees, they see it as a prime opportunity to sell WWE to whatever company wants to buy it. Well, he believes that him spearheading this effort would maximize the amount of money that WWE will get. Vince joins the board. Immediately that same day, 2 other board members, one of whom had been tasked with the internal investigation into the allegations against Vince, resigned from the board. So the board goes from 11 members down to 9. Important to say that also on this board are Stephanie McMahon, Paul Triple H Levesque, and Nick Khan. And remember, when Vince sent that letter saying he intended to come back to the board, it was a unanimous no from the board. So his own daughter, son-in-law, and Nick Khan all voted against him. It seemed wild back then. And this is a week ago, and it seems like forever ago now. The last 12 hours has been absolutely insane. So let's just shoot forward to about 12 hours ago. Stephanie McMahon, she issues a tweet. Got it up there on the screen there. And let me pull it up and read it for you. About 8 months ago, I took a leave of absence, and within a few weeks, unexpectedly had the opportunity of a lifetime. I had the privilege to return as the co-CEO and chairwoman of the board of WWE. I cannot put into words how proud I am to have led what I considered to be the greatest company in the world, working alongside the remarkable leadership team and one of the strongest executives I have known in my co-CEO, Nick Khan. Our founder, Vince McMahon, has returned as executive chair and is leading an exciting process regarding strategic alternatives. And with Nick's leadership and Paul Triple H Levesque as chief content officer, I am confident WWE is in the perfect place to continue to provide unparalleled creative content and drive maximum value for shareholders. WWE is in such a strong position that I have decided to return to my leave and take it one step further with my official resignation. She goes on a little bit after that. So, yeah, Stephanie McMahon resigns from WWE as co-CEO. She is now no longer CEO. Nick Khan is fully CEO. And that right there was very unsettling to me as a WWE fan, as someone who pays attention to the backstage stuff, and also, admittedly, as a shareholder. And I say this because earlier in the day, Vince had been named as the executive director of the board. In my mind, I went to thinking that maybe Vince was going to, rather than spearheading this effort to sell WWE, he was going to try to work full control back into, his life again. Whether that's as CEO, president, chief of creative, whatever. I had no doubt kind of that that's where they were going. But in the last, in the couple hours after that, even more wild news has dropped. And this is where I'm kind of wondering, I guess it's a it's a publicly held company. So the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission, they probably have, some sort of, I don't want to say authority, but there's probably some stuff that has to get cleared by them. Maybe the FTC, Fair Trade Commission. On the list of people expected to be trying to buy WWE, there were like the big media conglomerates everyone expects: Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, Amazon, which Amazon has been really trying to up their live events. Makes sense. Even $7 Productions, The Rock's company, was named as one of the potential buyers. But there's one suitor that no one really wanted to talk about, and I really didn't think it would happen. But Saudi Arabia, not a company, not a person, the country of Saudi Arabia, they have this public investment fund that invests into different companies. And rumors started hitting, blew up Twitter, saying that it's official, or, well, I don't want to say official, that saying that word is going around that the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund had purchased WWE, that all the details were worked out, possibly even signed, but nothing for sure about that yet. But it hit a whole lot of different Twitter accounts that are like official reporting type people that report on this stuff. One of the more trusted online reporters, Fightful Select, Sean Ross Sapp, he posted a tweet. He's been posting a lot of tweets, but one of them said nobody in WWE has confirmed this. Basically, for now, it's rumor. He tried to get an official word from WWE, hasn't. Tried working contacts within WWE that maybe speak on the off the record or on condition of anonymity. No one has said anything to him on even on that basis. He even said that one executive was surprised when Sean had asked them, as it was the first they were hearing of it. So that's pretty interesting. But I think one of the more damning pieces of evidence so far, and mind you that this word hit I want to say around 9 or 10 o'clock at night, so outside of normal business hours. And so maybe WWE doesn't necessarily make a public comment, but they haven't publicly commented. Mind you, they have a live show going on USA Network. Their NXT brand is live. So obviously there's people working. But they have not made any official word on these rumors. I think today, especially Wednesday, January 11th, you're going to see a lot of activity. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's show, the regular Just About Outside radio show broadcast, as I'm sure there's going to be a lot of updates. But I kind of wanted to look more into the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, because I had heard of it and I knew that they were like named as a potential suitor to buy WB, but I didn't know too much about it. But it's really staggering. They have a value of $620 billion. Yes, that's with a B. I guess that's the money that they have that they can use towards publicly funded investments. They have investments not fully owned, 5%, 4%, 5.7%, different really small percents, but they have stakes in Uber and the video game company Capcom, which is huge, Street Fighter. They have investments in Live Nation, the ticket concert distributor. They have investments in Boeing, who makes airplanes. Citigroup Bank, Facebook. They actually have a $500 million stake in Disney. They have $487 million stake in Bank of America. They have a stake in Berkshire Hathaway, who, if you don't know, is like a investment group as well. Let's see, BP Oil Company, SoftBank Group. They also have a large ownership part in the Newcastle United Soccer Club. So, I mean, this Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, they have a whole lot of cash, and if they wanted to buy WWE, they could. They've already been bringing them over for shows twice a year, paying a whole lot of money towards that. So I guess instead of paying that yearly fee that they do, just buy the whole damn thing, they figured. Now, I wanted to say that a lot of fans are outraged. Saudi Arabia doesn't necessarily have the best record on human rights. We've all been aware of the possible involvement with the murder of journalist Khashoggi. I forget his first name, but it looked very much like they had been a part of that. Their record on human rights as far as women, LGBTQ people in general, it's pretty atrocious. And it's horrifying to think that this company could end up owning something that is, for me, something that I love and have been a fan of for 40 years. But it's also a uniquely American company that, professional wrestling kind of grew out of the carnival business. Vince McMahon bought it from his father. And WWE itself is an American company that was created here and become this big global phenomenon that it is. There's also reports that the performers themselves are very upset about this, and you really have to wonder. The WWE performers are independent contractors, quote unquote, even though WWE does try to control a lot of what they do. They're not allowed to go on the independent scene. They're not allowed to book other appearances outside of WWE's approval. So you have to wonder, can they get out of their contracts that easily? Because I'm sure there's a lot that would like to up and leave. Immediately I think of Sami Zayn, who has had one wild run on SmackDown, part of Roman Reigns' bloodline. He is Canadian, but he's born from Syrian parents. Syria and Saudi Arabia aren't exactly friends. Sammy doesn't make the trips to Saudi Arabia on purpose. And there's another performer within WWE, MVP, that he doesn't make the trips to Saudi Arabia because he's a former Muslim, and that's actually punishable by death in Saudi Arabia, as it is a religious state. So there's a lot of questions about what this means for the performers. Now, I do think about the everyone that works for WWE. It's such a massive business. They have offices around the world, so there's executives, there's office workers, janitors, there's the truck drivers that drive around the ring, and the crew members that put together the lighting and the sets and put the ring together. I'd say those are more intrinsic parts of the business, so maybe their jobs aren't necessarily in danger, but I'm sure they would feel a certain way working for a company owned by the Saudis at this point. And, not to say that everyone from Saudi Arabia is bad. I don't believe that at all. It's the Saudi government. It's the Saudi crown prince that there are definite questions about. So if anyone is listening that has Saudi roots or from Saudi Arabia itself, I'm not saying anything about you. It's the Saudi government that has made some really bad decisions. And I think the WWE employees, the performers, there's some serious questions as far as if they would want to continue their employment. You have to wonder also how All Elite Wrestling would react to this. I'm sure they wouldn't mind picking up a lot of talent that suddenly finds themselves uninterested in working for a certain company, so they might benefit. But also, what's it mean for the lower card guys in AEW? Like, they might suddenly get pushed out for these huge names simply because these huge names are available. But I wanted to record this because, like I said, I feel a certain way about this. I'm upset. I'm really upset. I don't know the legalities of it. When Vince McMahon came back, did he already have a deal worked out? Who knows? That's stuff that's, I'm sure, going to come out in the coming weeks, months. But I find it all very fascinating and odd, and like I said, I feel a certain way. I wanted to record this to get this out because I have a platform. I look very forward to discussing this more and maybe getting the non-WWE fan point of view as we do our live show on Thursday. Make sure you join us. We're going to be looking at the wild card games. We're going to be looking at some other stuff. NBA's going to definitely start getting a whole lot more attention and love since football is now in the playoff portion of the season. We're going to have some guest picks for the wild card round. We're going to give our predictions for the wild card round. So definitely come through for that. Anything else that pops up with WWE, I'm going to make a note of it and definitely try to bring you more news, and really appreciate it. So Just About Outside Radio Show, this is Mark. Thank you so much for joining me for this impromptu vent session. But take it easy, and we will see you tomorrow night, Just About Outside Radio Show.